heard about it. We all know about it. And we all know just how cringy it was. Yes, that's right. We're taking a look at Star Wars Kinect. Now, when I first started looking at this game, I pretty much had the same opinion that everyone does. That it was indeed a tech demo for a failed piece of garbage. But once I dug deeper, I realized that this game was a bit tragic. That in many respects, the mini-games that comprise it weren't really that bad. So with that, let's take a look at the folly that was Star Wars Kinect. Star Wars Kinect was developed by Terminal Reality and published by LucasArts and Microshaft Studios in 2012 for the Xbox 360, and was meant to showcase the then new Kinect's motion sensing controller. This was around the time when companies were still trying to make their own motion controller gubbins to try to get some of that sweet, sweet motion control money that Nintendo made with their Wii. Pretty much all the bloody motion control experiments failed due to the lack of any real advantage to be found over traditional controllers. With the Kinect being, in my personal opinion, the worst of all worlds due to its complete lack of something to hold on to. In a movie or TV show, it would seem to be an epic idea. You are the controller. It's kind of like the holodeck, right? Instead, it looked like this, and controls even worse than it looks, and allows for far less complex gameplay than a traditional controller. Add to that the Kinect never worked right, and was horribly aggravating to actually use for any period of time. You can see why it is now a thing of the past. For me, when the bloody thing came out, I couldn't have cared less, as even then I found the very concept of the Kinect laughable. It wouldn't be until late 2012 that I would even be in the same room as a Kinect, and even then, it was only used as a microphone to play Halo 3 multiplayer. In 2017, I bought an open box Star Wars Xbox 360 and promptly left the Kinect in the box. It wouldn't be until literally a month ago that I would try the Kinect, and even then, it was just for this video. And was it worth the wait? Alright, so if you decide to walk... Lost the commander, huh? I'm right here, you asshole! Oh no. Just getting the busted to pick you up at all is a challenge worthy of Conan himself, and getting it to keep picking you up is even harder still, and many of the games require a great deal of movement, and it always tells you to back up. Star Wars Kinect was meant to be the Wii Sports Resort equivalent for the Kinect, and it tries oh so hard to work and fails oh so miserably. You have two different types of lightsaber minigames that are utter trash. Neither one is fun in the slightest. Both have to restrict what you can do since you are playing it without a physical bloody controller. The first one is sort of an on-rails adventure mode that is utterly boring, and its story broke then EU canon. What's funny is that while playing the game, I rose my middle finger to the game's crappiness, and my lightsaber ignited, and I proceeded to destroy all the remotes by flipping them off. Then you have a dueling mode that is borderline unplayable. If you had a lightsaber controller dongle, it might be okay, but just waving your hands in the air like you just don't care not only looks silly, it makes you want to chuck the bloody Kinect out the window. You then have what is the most hilarious of all the game types, the Rancor Rampage. With a controller, this might have been a decent amount of fun. With a Kinect, well, let's have a look. So basically, you look like an idiot when you play this game. Okay, I've had enough of that. Yes, that is how ridiculous you have to look to play this minigame. Really, Rancor Rampage is a bit of fun even with the Kinect, and I have to admit, it does make for a great party game. Oh yeah, you knew we had to take a look at it. Now we've all heard about the eternally cringy Galactic Dance-Off minigame, and it's every bit as cringy as you've heard. This is yet another great party game. Probably not for the reasons they intended. The dance moves are so bad, even I could come up with moves better than this, and the music is pure ear rape. But hilarious ear rape nonetheless. The Han Solo song had to have some effort put into it for it to be this bloody funny, and this bloody bad. What most reviews of this game don't show you is that after Han gets humiliated, Lando gets chucked right in the bin along with him. In many instances, Lando's song is actually worse. Lando's song actually has the lyric, "Loving myself makes me want to sing." Someone was paid to write that. Someone was paid a lot of money to write that. Sleep well tonight. The Galactic Dance-Off is as horrible as other reviews make it out to be, but with the right group of friends, you could turn it into a hilariously good time. And now I have saved the most disappointing minigame for the very last. The pod racing. I hated the pod racing scene in episode 1. It was not part of a war, it was just a bloody space race that tried oh so hard to mimic the speeder bike chase in Return of the Jedi. But unlike that scene, this scene goes on about 5 minutes too long and was completely tedious, but it did give us the excellent episode 1 racer for the Nintendo 64. It had great controls and fluid racing. Hey, why does the game from 2012 have worse controls than the game from the late 90s? Why? Oh, why did we have to get a pod racing game with modern graphics that had to be controlled with this clanking contraption of crappiness? The game makes you stand like an idiot, and it's almost impossible to control, and yet it's almost impossible to lose as well, as I was able to get second place most of the time. And let's be reasonable, it's another on-rails segment, as you're meant to stay on this green track like a bloody Jurassic Park car. And that is because you can't control this bloody thing. The pod racing is all the more depressing because the tracks look nice and are filled with a bunch of cool details, and if I had a bloody controller, I could be having fun right now. And that is why the pod racing is the most disappointing out of all the minigames. There is a good game here, a potentially damn good one. I get the feeling that Terminal Reality gave it their all and tried to do their damnedest to make a fun pod racing game, but since it was meant to be controlled with the goddamn Kinect, all their effort was wasted. Star Wars Kinect could have been good if the Kinect wasn't the Kinect. None of the games are truly horrible, and none of them are broken or poorly designed. It's just that they were designed to make use of a broken and poorly designed piece of crap. If the Kinect had some sort of physical dongle, like the Wii, these games would be perfectly playable if a bit generic. But alas, that was not to be. And now and forevermore, Star Wars Kinect, along with the Kinect itself, will be seen as one of the larger gaming blunders in history. Would you believe? I actually kind of recommend Star Wars Kinect. Oh, it's a terrible game, that is to be certain, but it does make for a great little party game. If you have the right group of people, you can laugh your asses off at how silly playing this thing actually looks. And that is at the very least a tiny saving grace. And so, I am GeneralLotz, wishing you good, not this piece of crap, but really good Episode 1 Racer, and good Republic Commando, or whatever makes you happy. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing, and if you can, please consider supporting me on Patreon, so that I can continue bringing you this awesome content.